Good morning! Magandang umaga po. I received an email from a client of mine and boy, what a disaster. What a disaster. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are experiencing this at the airport when they are refused boarding by, of all airlines, Philippine Airlines. But anyway, this is not Philippine Airlines' fault. This is a misunderstanding. But stay with me and we'll talk about it. I feel so sad for this lady who was refused to board a Philippine Airlines flight to the Philippines. But let me read to you the email she sent to me, and the email I sent back, and the email she sent back to me, so we went back and forth. But this will clarify and hopefully avoid the situation of all other travelers in the Philippines. But wait until the end when I prepare a recap. It's very important, unless you're already an expert and you know exactly the differences between passport, visa, balikbayan, OFW, and stuff like that. Okay? If you're unsure, wait until the end and I will explain that to you in detail. I want to share with you our experience today. We are already at the airport, ready to check in with my Brazilian husband. We were married for 10 years and he's back and forth in Philippines. We are based here in Dubai. He's working here and I'm in an OFW since 2008 here in Dubai. So we are already in the check-in counter, but suddenly the PAL management, Philippine Airlines management, informed that my husband cannot fly because he don't have a visa. And I told him Brazilian is visa upon arrival, but he insisted that there's a new rules that even you are a spouse of an OFW, you need to get a visa. Just want to clarify things, as I did not hear any new rules regarding this situation. They said have a new rule 2 days ago. We also sad and waste of ticket time and the frustration we felt. Hope you can discuss this issue in your vlog. Hope to see you more videos. This is how I responded. I'm sorry that you had this incident. Unfortunately, it is true that Philippines made a change. The entry of foreign spouses with no visa required is called balikbayan. However, under these new rules, foreign spouses of Filipino citizen is still allowed but will be required to get a visa in advance before boarding. Visas are no longer being issued at the airport. This could change. This change has been in effect March 22nd until April 21st, but could change or get extended after the 21st of April. That was in my earlier vlog on March 20. Again, sorry that it happened to you. Philippines changes the rules so often and with short notice. And then she sends this back to me. Hello, Grandpa. I'm not balikbayan. I'm an OFW here in Dubai. So my husband called balikbayan, even I'm considered an OFW. And they need to get a visa in advance. Even his visa is upon arrival. I thought OFW can go home anytime. That's my understanding in your video regarding the new rules of OFW. Still confused of balikbayan and OFW. Thanks. Again, I'm going to explain this towards the end in detail. But meanwhile, this is how I responded. Okay, let me continue to explain. 1. OFW or Overseas Filipino Worker is a term used to refer Filipino immigrant workers who reside outside the Philippines for a limited period of employment. It distinguishes you from a tourist, permanent immigrant, or temporary immigrant in another country. An OFW continues to hold a Philippine citizenship. That is all it is. A Balikbayan is a program created by the Philippine government that allows one who is a Filipino citizen or former Filipino citizen to return to his motherland without a visa. Thus, it's called Balikbayan. meaning to come back to your country. It is a visa classification and usually issued in the Philippines upon arrival, including citizens, foreign spouses, and children. This visa has been temporarily suspended. As you can see, OFW has nothing to do with balikbayan. An OFW would qualify as balikbayan, but a balikbayan is not necessarily an OFW. Now, as of March 20, Philippines suspended the balikbayan program, meaning former Filipino citizens cannot come with or without a visa. But Filipino citizens are allowed in because they are not a balikbayan. Foreign spouses and children of Filipino or former Filipino citizens are also allowed in as a matter of courtesy to family which will require a visa. Again, this is not a balikbayan program. You are probably confused because you have been using balikbayan program for years. Well, this is different. This is a different year, and this change could confuse a lot of people. I hope this clarifies the subject. I will probably make a video on this since there could be some confusion on what OFW is all about. This is what this video is all about. Okay, in the next chart, I'm going to show you one by one when you start as a Filipino citizen from the Philippines. Okay, you have a passport and you have a visa. But let's go through the chart. The first thing is, before you left the Philippines, you carried with you a Philippine passport. A Philippine passport is supposed to be a proof of your citizenship in that country. You hold a Philippine passport, you're a Philippine citizen. You're not necessarily born in the Philippines. No, that has nothing to do with it, but you are a Filipino citizen. A lot of people tell me, gee, I'm Filipino. Filipino what? Filipino by heritage? Filipino by blood? Or a Filipino citizen? Makes a difference. Okay, you can be Filipino, yet not a Filipino citizen. All right? So I would like to emphasize that because a lot of people ask me, I'm Filipino. Tell me, citizen or not? Because Filipino itself does not mean anything. It just signifies heritage. Okay, Philippine passports granted to citizens of the country, which means if you have a U.S. passport, that means you are a U.S. citizen. Arabian passport, you're an Arabian citizen. All countries use that, okay? It's a proof of citizenship. Now, how is that distinguished from so-called visa? Visa is issued by the country you are going to, okay? Issued to gain entry to a foreign country. It's issued as an authorization to stay in a country for a specific purpose, okay? It could be tourist visa, if you just want to tour the country. Permanent resident visa, if you're a permanent resident working there, living there, okay? Like green card holders. Could be a student visa if you're only there to study, attend the university. In the US, it could be H-2A or H-2B visa immigrant for migrant workers. That's the OFW, which unfortunately since 2017 has been discontinued for the Philippines. They have it in other countries, but Filipinos are not allowed. It was banned starting 2017. And different subject matter, but the reason for that is people were overstaying, they were not leaving the country. Okay, so from that point on, 2017, it was banned. And other special purpose visas. But visa is a permission to enter the country for a specific purpose. If you're Filipino, you have a Philippine passport, you go to the Philippines, because you have a Philippine passport, you do not need a visa. No visa requirement for Filipino citizens. Okay? Because you live in that country, you belong to that country. That's where you're staying. Okay? Now, some Filipinos, when you become a citizen of a foreign country, they become a U.S. citizen, for example, or whenever I say U.S. citizen, it could be a citizen of another country, okay? Just to clarify that. When you become a citizen of a foreign country, you lose your Philippine citizenship. A lot of people don't even know that. you lose your Philippine citizenship. You gave it up. Again, I don't blame you if you don't know that. People just say, oh yeah, okay, I'll become citizen. And then you're already a citizen of the United States, not realizing that they're losing their Philippine citizenship. Very important. Then they get a U.S. passport. Your Philippine passport is now replaced with a U.S. passport. Your stay and rights in the Philippines is now limited because you lost your citizenship in the Philippines. You may now be required to get a visa to go to the Philippines. For example, well, I'll talk about balikbayan later. You will be limited in terms of the amount of land that you can own, but you could still own because you are a former Filipino citizen. Former Philippine citizen, you can still own, but it will be limited in size. As a Filipino citizen, you can buy the whole country if you can afford it. Now, some people are dual citizen at birth, or they elect to become dual citizens. Now, what does that mean? Well, if you were born in the United States with Filipino parents or Filipino citizen parents, all you have to do is to file the delayed report of birth, and you are considered Filipino citizen. Or if you are born in the Philippines but one of your parents is a Filipino citizen, you're a Filipino citizen at birth, and all you have to do is to apply for certificate of recognition as a Filipino citizen. All right? Now, what is balikbayan? All right? Balikbayan program was established by the Philippines to allow Filipino citizens and former Filipinos, as well as foreign spouses, if you're married to an American or a foreigner, and foreign spouses and children, okay, of Filipinos or former Filipinos. So you're a Filipino citizen, so a Filipino, or you're no longer a Filipino citizen because you acquired naturalization, you're now called former Filipino under the balikbayan rule, okay? The balikbayan program is not exactly a visa, okay, but it will allow you to enter the country and they will give you the visa right there on the spot. That's under the balikbayan program. So you don't need to do any advanced processing here and there, okay? And if you are a Filipino or a former Filipino, or you are a spouse of a Filipino or former Filipino, you are granted the privilege of the balikbayan. And under the balikbayan rules, you can stay in the Philippines up to 1 year without any visa. Or call it balikbayan visa. A visa is like a permit. Okay, so in fact, I can't remember the immigration office in the Philippines is stamping something on my passport. Maybe they did and I was not paying attention to it. But it is a program. Okay, it's a program. Now, what the problem here is, this viewer of mine is saying that he considers himself an OFW. No. You are considered to be a temporary immigrant in that foreign country. Okay, temporary immigrant. They call it OFW program or whatever they call it. Okay, but technically speaking, you can come back to your country because you are still Filipino. You are still a Filipino citizen. Beg your pardon. You're still a Filipino citizen, so you could come back anytime. But under the balikbayan program, if you're coming back, you can bring back with you Filipino, former Filipino, or I'm sorry, foreign spouse or foreign children. They will also qualify under the balikbayan program. That was the balikbayan program. Now, the problem is this. Balikbayan program was suspended. Poof! Nobody can come. Can you come? Yes. Because you're still carrying a Philippine passport, you're still a Filipino citizen, you can come back anytime. Okay? By the way, this is the reason why I was upset. When was that? Back in March, sometime last month. Then they said Filipinos or former Filipinos, Filipino citizens, they will not be allowed to enter the country. There's no way they can do that. Okay? If I'm Filipino, I step out of the country, I can no longer come back. The only time I will accept that is if there is an emergency, like there is war, and everybody is stopped from coming into the country, like what happened in the United States during 9/11. Okay? They stopped all the airlines, they asked the airlines to go back to their point of origin or somewhere, but outside of the United States, they closed the entire border until they know what's going on. But that was just momentarily. As soon as they found out what's going on, they allowed people to come in with very strict inspection to be sure they're not the enemy. Okay? But usually, in normal circumstances, when you have a passport, you can go back to your country anytime. So today, when you go back, you're not going back as balikbayan because they closed the balikbayan program. Okay? So you can go back to the Philippines as a Filipino holding a Philippine passport. But, okay, now, if you are just a former Filipino, meaning you have a US passport, you will not be allowed. Okay? Because the balikbayan program is closed. Now, what they're saying is, again, this is just temporary as of March 22. They will allow Filipinos, not former Filipinos, to come back and bring with them foreign children, foreign spouse. But, again, this is not balikbayan, but they will be required to obtain a visa before leaving Dubai or the United States. Again, because it is not a balikbayan program. All right? So I hope this is clear. And by the way, under the balikbayan program, you'll be allowed to enter without any visa up to 1 year and stay in the Philippines up to 1 year. Beyond 1 year, you could be a former Filipino, therefore in balikbayan, you're not entitled to it. Okay? I mean, if you're a Filipino, yeah, you can go back to the Philippines forever if you want because that's your country. But if you are a former Filipino, let's say a U.S. citizen or citizen of Dubai, you will only be allowed 1 year. After 1 year, you will need a visa. You will need some kind of an extension to stay there because you will have limited, as I mentioned, you will have limited rights in the Philippines, including stay in the Philippines. Now, this is the reason why it's nice to be a dual citizen because some people are dual citizen at birth or elects to become dual citizen. They apply for dual citizenship. So now you will have a U.S. passport and a Philippine passport. And you will not be required to show a visa in the U.S. or the Philippines. But if you go to other countries where you are not a citizen of, for example, Japan, okay, you will still be required a visa. That's permit to enter the country. Now, in the case of Japan, it's better to have a Philippine passport because U.S. passport holders are required to have visa. Philippine passport holders, you're allowed without a visa. I can't remember if it's 30 or 60 days, but anyway, you're allowed a visa. Now, if you go to other countries, like maybe Spain, Portugal, Italy, not sure, okay? U.S. passport, you can go in without a visa. Philippine passport, you will need to have a visa. Again, visa is a permit to enter the country. Passport, that's your point of origin, that's your point of citizenship. I hope that's very clear. OFW, that's as a category, just like tourist visa, permanent visa, student visa, OFW visa. That is a category of visa. Okay? And the Balikbayan program is just a separate program created by the Philippines to allow people to come back with no hassle-free coming home. And they want to take advantage of the dollars that we bring into the country, which makes a whole lot of sense. It's a win-win situation, win for the country and win for us who are former citizen of the country. Again, technically, if you're a Filipino citizen, you don't need balikbayan, you can go home anytime you want. But if you're going home with a foreign spouse or foreign child, you call it the balikbayan program, they will qualify too, even though you are a Filipino citizen. All right, so I hope this helps you, and I'll appreciate it if you can share this with your friends or relatives. And if you like the video, please click like down below, and I'll appreciate it if you subscribe to my channel. That will help me a lot, unless you have already done so. Thanks again. Make it a great day, and God bless.